What a great night here in the state of Texas as Donald Trump and Ted Cruz win in a dominating fashion. I want to jump into the numbers, look at some exit polling, and look at some comparisons to previous elections. Let's jump right into it. Donald Trump won all the 40 electoral votes here in Texas with 56% of the vote to Kamala Harris's 42%. He received a record 6.3, almost 6.4 million votes in the state, breaking his previous record from 2020, 5.9 million. But I want to say real quick that Texas is not in play. It never was in play, so Democrats can give it up right now. We are not going blue. We don't want to turn to California. We don't want to turn to New York. We are solid blood red. We are blood red. Um, this is huge. He won 2020 in the state by close to 6%, about 600,000 votes, but this time he completely blew it out of the water. Let's check out how he did in specific counties collectively. If you look at big blue counties, Harris, Bayard, Dallas, and Travis, he didn't perform that bad. Uh, he got 1.5 million votes compared to her 2.1 million, and a lot of that margin is from Travis County. He didn't do that bad in Harris. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. But solid red counties, he won 3 million votes to 1.1 million. Fast changing counties, Tarrant, Fort Bend, four others, fast changing in their mind, I guess. 1.3 to 1.2. In border counties, check this out. He won the border counties, uh, 28 counties overall. He won by 9,000 votes. And a lot of those counties were traditionally Democrat voted Democratic because a lot of Hispanics that live there they have conservative values, but they don't have Democrat values. They're very family oriented, church things like that, and they're hardworking. A lot of them are a lot of blue collar workers down there, and a lot of them voted Democrat because their families did. That's what they knew. But their values, they were not liberal at all. Very conservative people down there. In the border situation, Trump hammering the border issue in Democrats, what they did under Joe Biden by opening the floodgates down there. They said enough is enough. So we're going to take a look at specific counties. If we look at Tarrant, where I live, Trump ran the tables here, winning 52% of the vote to Kamala Harris's 47. Look, they've been coming after Tarrant County for a long time. They have their eyes on Tarrant County. They spend tons of money here because they can control Tarrant County. Then they could uh, really control the state in a lot of, at least get very close to it. That's why they come after Tarrant County because it's the largest Republican county in the country. But we didn't let that happen, and we won't. Dallas County, no surprise, Harris won by 22%, but he did. Uh, it looks like he did close the gap from 2020. We'll jump into that a little bit later. If we go down to Travis County, like I said, the margins in these big counties for uh, Kamala Harris, where she won, a lot of that is from Travis County. Now, if we go to Harris, it wasn't that bad. He lost by 6%, 5 or 6% down there in Harris County. 700,000 plus votes for him. Look, I'm telling you, this was a great night for Republicans. Now, if we go to the border counties, if we go to Webb County, Trump won there. Duval County, which I believe was a flip from 2020, he won that by 10%. Maverick County, he won that one by 19%. He ran the tables. I mean, you look at Starr County, very close, right there at the border, very southern in the state. He won that by 15%, 16%, if you round it up. Zapata County, we'll take a look at that, what it looked like in 2020. He won down there, border community. This was a huge night, and this mimics 2012 when Romney won the state by about 16 points. A lot of people were concerned that Texas was no longer a double digit state on the presidential level. If you take a look at 2022, Greg Abbott won the state by 11%. Other statewide races went higher, around that 10-15% range. But the presidential level, Trump won it by 9% in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, and then about 6% against Joe Biden. So of course the pundits were saying, "Oh, Texas is becoming more competitive. It's becoming more purple on the presidential level. In a few years, we'll close the gap to about 4%." Sorry, if you look at 2020 and now, Trump more than doubled his margin. I didn't expect this. I expected an 8 to 10% victory in the state, which would have been pretty good. I expect him to win by 900,000 votes, 2016 levels, but I didn't see this coming. And I should have known this, because if you look at the polling from 2020, they had him only they had him only up by 1.3%. And this time he was up by 7. So I should have known the margin would have been bigger. But let's go to Ted Cruz. Let's go to the Senate race. Ted Cruz beats the brakes off of Colin Allred, who made a hard push, Democrat money flowing into the state. Chuck Schumer going after Ted Cruz. Chuck Schumer wanted the seat really badly. I only expected Cruz to win. I originally had him at about 6 to 7%, but then I lowered it to 4 to 5% because he's a very polarizing figure. And I still thought he would win comfortably, but not by 9%. If you look at what happened with Beto in 2018, winning by, barely winning by 2.6%. A lot of people thought this seat was up for grabs, but Texas said, we're not having that. We're not having the male version of Kamala Harris inside the Senate in our state. Now, if you look at Tarrant County, very, very close. He only lost by 1,000 votes. I figured he'd win by a lesser margin than Trump because of how polarizing he is, and they come after Ted Cruz like there's no tomorrow. But nonetheless, he did very well in the state. Now, if we take a look at exit polling, there are some shocking numbers here in the exit polling. Now, if you look at oops, sorry, I went to Wisconsin really fast. Go back to Texas. All right. So the male vote in Texas, 61% went for Trump. Female, 49% went for Trump. Let's keep going. The black vote, 13% went for Trump, went for Republicans in general. And the Hispanic vote, 55% went to Donald Trump. That is unprecedented. 55%, more than half of the Hispanic vote went to Donald Trump in the state of Texas. And that has a lot to do with the border. That is a direct effect of the border right there. Because you have people in this country that come here legally, they're working on their citizenship or whatever, and they're doing things the right way. And then you open the floodgates to illegal aliens, and you just place them in communities. And people that have been in the state for a long time that are Hispanic don't like that. You might be, second, third, first, whatever generation Hispanic here in the state of Texas, and you have a business here. And Hispanics want the same things that any American wants: safe streets, a secure border, low inflation, opportunities to create a business or whatever. And this is a direct effect of Democrats taking Hispanics for granted and opening up the floodgates at the border. 55%. I was expecting to win about 45% in the state. I didn't see 55. 45 to 50 was my guess. 50 on the high end, but I didn't see 45% coming. Asian vote, nearly 60%. I mean, this is crazy. Texans resoundingly rejected liberalism and Democrat policies. Now, if we go down to sex by race, white men, 68% for Republicans. White women, 60%. Trump got that. Now, black men, 21% went for Trump. Black women, I'm not surprised. Black men seem to uh, be more conservative, in my opinion. A lot of black women they come off as very woke and they hate Trump, but black men seem to be more, lean towards Trump, in my opinion. They like what Trump was saying. Trump's message resonated with black men, and we saw it in the results here. We saw it across the country. With black men going 21 and 5 went for Trump. Now, if we go for Latino men, nearly two-thirds went for Trump at 64%. This is unprecedented. This is a political realignment that we saw last night across the country. We'll get into that in a separate video, but I want to focus on this massive landslide here in the state of Texas. This is also broken down by age group. I will leave this link in the box below so you can take a look at it yourself. But Republicans did very well with 18 to 29-year-olds. Almost half of the vote was Republicans at 49%. People in my age range from 30 to 44, 57%, 45, 64, 56%, 65 and over, 54% went to Republicans. Yeah, it's this was a great night. So I'm going to how Republicans reassert their dominance in the state of Texas. I want to read this article for you. This is from the Texas Tribune. It says Republicans reassert their dominance in Texas. Recent gains made by Democrats in past elections were wiped out as Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, other Republicans, won the state by wide margins. This is huge. Republicans reasserted their decades-long iron grip on Texas by securing comfortable victories all over the ballot Tuesday, dashing Democrats' hope of an upset and propelling the state further to the right. No Democrats won the statewide office in Texas since 1994. Now, I'm sure Democrats were not as crazy back then as they are now. And Democrats again failed to break through Tuesday's elections. At the top of the ticket, former President Trump, now President-elect, won Texas for the third time, handily defeating Vice President Kamala Harris by a double-digit margin that well exceeded his performances against Joe Biden in 2020 and Hillary Clinton in 2016. Incumbent Ted Cruz, yes, he shrugged off a well-funded and energetic campaign as Dallas Democrat Colin Everett got the brakes beaten off him by about 10 points. Even down the ballot here in Texas, we just went further to the right. Lower on the ballot, Republicans gained seats in the state legislature and the state judicial system, ensuring an even more conservative government in 2025. So those down ballot races are huge. That's why I urge people to vote up and down the ballot, not just top of the ticket, because this impacts your daily life. The more local it gets, it impacts you. It gets more to home. The lower it gets on the scale of the what I'm trying to say. Democrats started the night with the expectation that even if they lost at the top of the ticket, they'd show they were making progress in turning Texas into the nation's largest swing state. Instead, the GOP seemed to erase any sign of progress its opponents have been making in recent elections. That's the thing. Ted Cruz and Trump could have won the state 5-6%, and we had then the down ballot races get closer. That would give Democrats more reason to come after the state. But 2022, we went more red. 2024 went even more red than that. So I don't see a reason why these people need to keep coming after the state. We have sent a message time and time again, and this was the biggest message we could have sent possible. This is what Greg Abbott had to say. Texans sent a clear message. Republican Governor Greg Abbott said in a statement Tuesday evening, they want safer streets, a secure border, a strong economy, and the opportunity to choose the best school for their children. And that's exactly what these Republican candidates will deliver for their constituents, especially our new Republican allies who made history tonight by securing overwhelming victories in South Texas. Cruz's trouncing of Allred encapsulated the night. It came 6 years after the polarizing candidate narrowly avoided defeat at the hands of Democrat challenger jumping jack flat Beto O'Rourke in one of the closest U.S. Senate races in Texas history. It was not even close. it was not close. But I want to get down to these victories here in Texas that were overwhelming. Cruz, meanwhile, avoided Cruz, meanwhile, avoided opinion on abortion, instead of focusing on Allred trying to Harris and tying Allred to Harris and painting his challenger as an extremist on social issues such as transgender rights. His campaign flooded the airwaves with commercials claiming that Allred wants to let boys play girls' sports. Yeah. He also accused Allred of backing Biden's open border policies and said Allred voted against the interests of the oil and gas industry. See, this is what Republicans do so well here in Texas. Greg Abbott did it to Beto when he ran for governor in 2022. He tied Beto to the radical agenda of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He tied them to the border. He's kept time to the border. And I saw some of those Cruz ads. He kept hammering the girls playing and boys playing girls sports issue. He hammered that issue home. And I think that resonates with people. People didn't like the agenda, the Joe Biden agenda. They didn't want Kamala's agenda, which is the same as Joe Biden. So they also don't want Colin Allred to do the same thing in the Senate. We don't want that. National Democrats injected millions of dollars into the Allred campaign, but that money was ineffective in turning out voters. The Democrats, let's go down here. Okay, here's actually the results of previous elections. The Republican victories reverse a trend of Democrats shrinking the statewide Republican margin of victory. In 2012, Mitt Romney won by 16% over Obama. 2016, Trump beat Hillary by 9%. In 2020, Trump beat Biden by 5.6%. So they were looking at that. And their dreams have been dashed. The Democrats' biennial fever dream of turning Texas blue and baseless hopes for a blue wave in the Lone Star State have once again crashed against the wall of reality. Conservative advocate Michael Quinn Sullivan wrote on social media, millions of out-of-state dollars were blown on losers like Colin Allred have helped Republicans nationwide. Yeah, it talks about the exit polling where Republicans got 55% of the Hispanic vote, 58% of the Asian vote. They back Republicans. I'm telling you, this was a fantastic night for the state of Texas. I couldn't be more happy. Trump outperformed Harris among men in 24% by 24 percentage points, equally among women, according to exit polls. I mean, so we gained seats in the state legislature, and now Abbott can pass school choice. He can pass school choice in the state now, which is huge, which is what he's been trying to get passed for a very long time, and now he has numbers to do it. So, great job here in the state of Texas. This was a massive landslide, and you got out there and you did your job. You voted. You took people with you. I've talked to some of you in the comments here and there. You wanted to take people to the polls. You got out there early, voted, and we set the record straight. You're not coming for the state of Texas. You're not going to turn this into a radical left state. You're not going to turn this into California. You're not going to turn our big cities into LA or New York City. We have problems, yes. Houston's a problem. Austin, I don't know if there's any fixing that anytime soon down in Austin, but uh, Tarrant County, Fort Worth, you're not going to do that to us. You're not going to turn us into a radical left state. We like our Second Amendment here. We want a secure border. We like law and order. We want low gas prices. We want a thriving economy here in the state, and we want lower regulation on businesses. Texas is not perfect. We have our problems. Don't get me wrong, but we don't California Texas. That's all people are saying. We like our way of life here. We have ways to go. Yes, there are problems. I get that. We're not perfect. No state is perfect. But people come here because we are a beacon of hope. We are a shining light of like the American freedom here in the state of Texas. Florida's becoming that too. Florida did an excellent job in last night's election, winning by not as much as Texas, but it was pretty close. So Texas and Florida have become the places where people can go to have a sense of freedom, where they're not being controlled by their state government every step of the way, as some people feel in in California, in New York, and other places like that, Washington, Oregon. Um, Law and order. Ron DeSantis is big on law and order. So is Greg Abbott, and I think that is why Texans people come here and they adapt to our way of life and they become Texans because they don't like liberal nonsense. So I'm going to leave the video right there. Um, I want to just say congratulations to Ted Cruz and Donald Trump on having a resounding victory. I didn't expect this to be this big. But yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.